Ready? I think this debate starts to get easier when we look at contention number 1 and we ask ourselves whether or not there's a significant problem in the status quo. On A and B, we talk about whether Assad's government is responsible. George has 5 answers saying yes they are, and Russia's really bad. My first argument is conceded all. Fine, I don't care anymore. You can blame Assad all you want. Assad used chemical weapons. Here's our argument. Number 1, 1,400 people dying in Syria does not constitute a significant problem that justifies changing the status quo. Secondly, especially does not justify military action. Our argument is that you can respond to this chemical weapons action without using cruise missiles, without using the weapons of mass destruction that we have to punish Assad. Diplomacy can work. Please go to subpoint C where they say that the point is the test of American resolve. My first argument is that I talk to this about as rhetorical hyperbole. There's no answer to that. Extend that argument. You do not need to be worried that our prestige is on the line when it comes to Syria. There are plenty of other ways that the United States defines itself in the international world, and Syria is not the only place that we are going to do that. But the most important argument is in D, where they say if we don't respond, we lose credibility. They have to win this argument in order to get any impact on significance. Because the only way this thing gets big, the only way there are a lot of dead babies, is if we lose credibility and North Korea does something bad. My first response, we do not need to respond militarily to gain credibility. That was my argument in the first negative constructive, and there's no answer by the 2AC. There is no reason that diplomacy can't work. In fact, please extend all the evidence that my partner just read you about how the diplomacy is working. Syria has already identified their nuclear or chemical weapons. They have already started letting inspectors into the country. They have already started dismantling them. And most important, this could provide the framework for stopping the entire civil war. Diplomacy is working in Syria. It is a response to the crisis. And that is enough to make all of contention 1 go away, because once we break that link in the chain, once we take that part of the story away, there's no more impact to this debate. In subpoint E, they talk about North Korea. My first argument is extend George's analysis that they are irrational. Irrational means that you cannot predict what they're going to do. So here's no reason that they're going to respond to military pressure any more than they will diplomatic pressure. My second argument is that there's no brink in the status quo for North Korea. Extend that argument from the 1 and C. There is no urgency with North Korea. It's not like they're sitting on the border of South Korea waiting to invade. It's not like they're getting ready to launch missiles at the United States. There is not a single level that gives you a sense of urgency in this debate that says that North Korea is the problem. Look, we can all agree that what Assad did was horrible, but we also have to admit that 1,000 people are going to die today in the United States in automobile accidents. We cannot change the status quo every time somebody dies. It has to be a significant problem, and there just isn't one. Contention number 2 is whether we can solve. I don't have any answers to my arguments. They don't meet their burden of proof. In subpoint A and subpoint B, they do not have evidence that striking Syria will send a strong message to North Korea and will stop them from developing their chemical weapons and attack. That proves to you that even if you believe there's a significant problem, even if contention 1 is persuasive to you, you have no guarantee in contention 2 that they can solve this problem. And as a good policymaker, you would not do something unless it was actually going to fix the problem. Especially when my partner presents to you the disadvantage that tells you that there's a risk. There's a risk that things could go bad. There's a risk that things could go wrong. It's not a significant problem. They can't fix much of it, and they risk a huge disadvantage. Don't change the status quo.